top bit, but now we're going to be going into our first juniors game.
We immediately see Red having players in and around it. Clearly the place to be again, or a perceived place to be.
Here we go. So we're
Get
starting
ready.
off.
Go.
Let's say a couple more people hanging around that green area.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's going to come down to some of the young kids like playing a lot faster, being a lot faster, so they're more adjusted to snapping between those two doors, which has been like a big thing for people playing in that main spot in green, is being able to snap between those two doors as quickly as possible can play to your advantage pretty heavily.
It's really interesting. I'm trying to think. There clearly seems to be a preference into this green base here compared to the last game, right? We are almost seeing 2 or 3 different little clicks rather than the whole game sort of moving to one area of the maze or the other. We're seeing quite distinct little bits here. Domshell off with a nice little lead there.
Nice little, absolutely fantastic lead there. Jellyhawk a lot lower than I would expect him at the beginning of the game.
Bit of a rough start. Maybe found themselves in a position where,
they were considered the biggest threat.
And either people moved away from them, and then in moving, because it's very, very difficult to move anywhere around the maze during solos just because you are going to get tagged.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes you've found a spot. You are struggling there. You're not winning your jewels. You're not getting those points, so you force yourself to move, and you have to kind of cop a couple of hits as you move to a new spot.
I will say we're seeing a lot more movement around mid arenas and things like that. Again, these are the areas which are super barricaded up. There's lots of movement that you have to do to make sure all your sight lines are covered. Yeah. And you're going to see a lot more movement in the junior games than you're probably going to see in the Masters games. Again, it's just down to some of the Masters are just kind of like, let's have some fun.
Just a little bit. So we're getting a lot of changes. We mentioned Jellyhawk had a bit of a rough start. Now second, fighting over second and third. So it's really good to see, actually. This is... We've got so many more juniors than we have. We've actually have a player who drove from Canberra today to play in this. So he's a young guy from Canberra. Damos. Who's not going super well right now, but that's okay. This is his first introduction. He's never done nationals before, and he's actually a staff member at Zone 3 Canberra.
Oh my gosh.
And he drove just up for this.
That's incredible. Like, good job to him. I probably not planning on driving from WA to any of the Nats anytime soon.
I mean,
just a quick day and 4 hours to get here if I drove straight.
So, but it's great. It's great to see the younger players here and coming through it, and us actually being able to support the younger players with these sort of competitions, and also the quality of this is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's fantastic. And like also just see a dedication to the community that's around this. Again, this community is like fantastic. Like you meet some really amazing players here. You definitely click with a lot more people than you think you will.
Two things to bring up. Rapid, we haven't mentioned. Rapid's managed to get into that first place and really hasn't shifted from there now in the last.
There we go, Tiger. I was about to say, I'm like, you're speaking.
I spoke too soon. Copping it a little bit there. Still not far away though. I was going to say Red became quite empty there, so clearly the points are elsewhere in the middle of the maze. And I feel like if I quickly, we've got quite a few now, but if I quickly flip to our arena things, we've got these players who are posted up in these along these walls again, having a look at that top right screen. You can just see the number of players that are sort of posted up on all of those walls around the arena, but outside of the bases. So
what's been incredible, what's also like incredible about a lot of these events and things like that, especially when you get to a nationals level, is that you get to see the difference between your like league or competitive setting in your state versus the nationals level. Because like, for example, like Brody, fantastic when it comes to home. And I know that like here he's been doing okay, but like especially when he's going up a lot of players that sort of play similar to him or like really counter his style, he just has been struggling. And it goes to say with like the majority of the people. Sorry to call you out, Brady, when you watch this back later. But yeah, like that's the kind of thing is that when you're in your state, you're definitely like, I know these players. I know how they play. I know what's going to happen with their teams. When you get to a nationals level, it's like we can expect these strategies, but we have no clue how well they can perform compared to people from my state. Poor Brady. Yes, poor Brady.
Poor Brady.
Love you, Brady.
It's one of the best things about coming to any sort of state competition or any competition that brings multiple states the one,
Yeah.
or more, even not even multiple states, to some degree, even multiple leagues. If you're lucky enough to be in place.
Sorry to
No,
interrupt.
go.
Look at
Member leveled
I say,
up.
look at this that's
Well
happening in Raid.
done.
Was that Benny? I think that's currently in the
triangle.
in the triangle. I think maybe.
Yeah.
I was about to say there was like 4 people hanging around that red, and he was shooting so many of them.
He's still. Oh, that is a very quick.
He's holding there's a look at the movement in green as well.
Member
Like
leveled up.
clearly,
blue is
Well
dead.
done.
Like blue's gone. Like,
okay, so our juniors don't like blue base, clearly.
Which is really funny considering some of the people
Member
that like
leveled
I've
up.
chatted with about
Well
blue
done.
base. It's like it's probably one of the better ones to have. Probably more
Member
so when you get
leveled
to the
up.
team, the
Well
more team
done.
games or the
Yeah.
group games. It's going to be a lot more of a played base than it is during the solo games.
It's a little bit easier to sort of post up and hold if you've got a couple
Yeah.
of people.
But not even that, like cycling around them. Like I was chatting to Commander Snake, and he's like, "Oh,
Member
he
leveled
loves
up.
blue base because he
Well
just moves
done.
around them. Like he just moves around all the panels, and he goes out through the exit door and runs around. Like he'll do things like that where it's fantastic. Oh yeah, Brody's climbing now.
yeah, absolutely.
Commentators goes, sorry, Brody.
But yeah, just the amount of green base, just the amount of movement and
Member
people in
leveled
green
up.
base.
Well done.
I ended up playing green base in solos a little bit on my second game, and it actually managed to get me through, which was lovely. But it was relatively dead.
I think I saw you during all those
Member
games.
leveled up.
I
Well
scraped
done.
through like
I did not do well.
30 points the difference. Jellyhawk, again, we mentioned a rough start. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you have a rough start, though.
Yeah.
You can absolutely climb your way
Member
back up.
leveled up.
And we
Well
see
done.
that is a very impressive
Yeah,
score.
very impressive score. Like he's absolutely climbed. Like he's got like a somewhat okay lead over Tiger currently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what? Still, he's currently got the most
Member
time
leveled
spent on
up.
fire, and it's
Well
slowly
done.
just continuing to count up as he just plays the game. Like we've got a minute left on the game. You can already tell, like, sort of about the top, like probably like the top 3 are going to be moving around a lot more than you'll
Yeah.
see the rest of it.
You got a bit of. I was going to say you got a bit of a drop off after that sort of top sort of 7 there.
Yeah.
You got like from Bro to Rudy, there's quite a large gap. So
Yeah.
interesting to see that.
Like, there's definitely like the top 9 and your bottom 9 that are really currently
Yeah.
playing for those spots. It would be very interesting to see some of them, other like the ones in the bottom 9, quickly jump up to that top 9 because
Yeah.
we've seen it happen so many times in all these games. It really comes down to like the last 10 seconds, and you really get to see where everybody places.
At the sort of 100 odds
Mm.
points you get per tag when you how you
Member
go about
leveled
it.
up. Well done.
Yeah, the jump up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
While it's still quite close. It's going to be really interesting to see how, for instance, Rapid, who
Ooh.
who
Who just
was
got a
that
turn?
on?
Domshell.
Domshell,
Uh-oh.
our initial leader of the game. It'll be really interesting to see people like Rapid and
Member
Domshell, who
leveled
obviously
up.
had started really
Well
well
done.
Mm.
and have kind
Game
of
over.
slipped a little
Please
bit.
proceed
Whether
to
or not
exit.
they will recognize that for what it is and sort of take that into account in the next game.
Yeah. So here we go. So we've got a little summary here. Slowly being added. Bones only just managing to get slightly above the Masters game.
So I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in our juniors for not running as much.
more.
Okay, so Bones
Get your cardio in.
has got the lead for the most
Most travel.
most distance travel in a single game.
We've got to record that.
We're going
We've gotta
to
have it
work out
ready.
whether or not anyone gets more than Bones's 536. Quite in other news, highest domination streak, again an interesting one. Tiger
Yeah.
on Infused there, or on
Highest
Junior
chain tag
specifically.
only being 5, both expected and unexpected. Do you understand? Like, I sort of expected like maybe some of the guys to like get a higher DX streak, but I'm also like, well, a lot of these guys. Oh, sorry, 11. Is 11? Yes.